Greetings and very welcome back to my humble neck of the YouTube woods, making one of these swift gaming history videos again, because the channel has muddled its way past the 300 subscriber milestone, which is really nice and quicker than expected, to be honest. This one's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to focus on handheld consoles. So up until this point, we have been very, very linear and chronological with the home consoles. On this one, I'm going to ignore chronological aspects, just in the sense of leaving out home consoles and focusing on my limited handheld experience, And this one's a wee bit different because I can actually show you my handhelds, because I believe I've held on to all of them, which is a bit strange because our family tradition, certainly my personal philosophy on gaming, is when you're done with the console and the games and not really getting a lot of love and action, is to pass them down to nephews or other family members or friends that will be more interested and prone to actually playing them and giving them some action, So pretty much all of my consoles have gone that way, home consoles. But for whatever reason, these have still stuck around. I don't know if they just didn't want one or they had one themselves. But all of my handhelds are still very much retired in a drawer, safe and sound. And the first one I can really recall is my Game Boy Color, with Pokemon Silver in it. And that came about because my eldest nephew and my other nephew, his brother Patrick, were both, the eldest nephew's name is Thomas, and they were playing Pokemon Blue, I believe. Maybe Patrick had Pokemon Red. But they gave me a go of it many moons ago on their system, and it intrigued me, and I really enjoyed it. So I bought my own, or well, my parents bought me at this stage, a Game Boy Color, that purple one that you've seen, and I played Pokemon Blue to bits, and a good few of my friends and family were playing as well, and we had one of those link cables and we'd do battles and we'd be grinding in the sense of leveling up to get all our Pokemon to level 100 or your 6 favourite Pokemon and so on. Now, I may have played a rogue game on it other than Pokemon Blue and Silver, but to be honest with you, they're the only games I can really remember, and they're the two games that I still have to this day for the Game Boy Color. And that will be a pattern that you will notice, no doubt, in the sense of I really only played a handful of games for the handhelds. I never fully bonded with handheld consoles. I always preferred the bigger screen, and maybe it's my lanky posture, looking down at it. It was uncomfortable or whatever, but which doesn't really ring true, because even though I only played a handful of games, the games I played I would have pumped, over 100 hours in them, maybe. Moving on to the next handheld console that I remember was the PlayStation Portable, this little blue PSP, and I believe my friend George was the one that got me into that. He's the only other person I can really think of that had a PSP as well, and I only played one game on the PSP really, and that was Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Great game, and of course you'll know with the mother base concept and mechanic that you have to recruit certain soldiers and expand mother base and so on and so forth, and there was so many multiplayer missions and stuff. It mixes in because I returned to that on the PlayStation 3 with the HD collection, and I enjoyed it so much more on the flat screen TV, But great game, but alas, pretty sure it's the only game I played for the PSP. But I definitely pumped a lot of time into it. Metal Gear Solids are fairly long titles anyway, particularly where all the cutscenes and so on. But yeah, Game Boy Color and PlayStation Portable. So we're jumping, I don't know, from the mid-90s to, when was the PlayStation Portable released? 2004, 2005, not sure. But we'll jump to the next one, which was this bad boy, the 3DS, I believe. What's in it? Let's see, out of curiosity. Pokemon Diamond, very good. Yeah, I'd forgotten that. One of my youngest nephews, or he is my youngest nephew. I think he recently hit 20 though, so you know, we're all aging, aren't we? I'm farting dust at this stage anyway. Josh, his name is, and he gave me a lend of that particular Pokemon title, and it was nostalgic because up until then I hadn't played. I'd only played Pokemon Blue and Silver, so the formula really hadn't changed, and it was a nice nostalgic playthrough of it. I did beat the game, but I certainly didn't go through the grinding of leveling up the Pokemon to max level or anything. But I did have a few more games for the 3DS, thankfully. And you'll notice a familiar theme on that as well is Resident Evil Revelations for the DS, which is what it originally came out for. And it's why I actually got a 3DS, was to play Resident Evil Revelations, a return of Chris and Jill as playable characters, and the storyline intrigued me, and I won't go too much into it, but thoroughly enjoyed the game. And then of course Deadly Silence from Resident Evil. It's basically a port of the original Resident Evil with some bells and whistles, but really good, lots of fun. The little additions and tweaks and stuff like that were very nice, and just a brilliant version of the game, to be honest. Thoroughly enjoyed that too. And last but not least, well, I suppose it is least because it's my least favourite, was the Mercenaries. So the Mercenaries 3D, yeah, that was fun as well. Didn't hold my attention. I'm not as crazy about the Mercenaries mode as some newer Resident Evil fans are. I'll play it, I'll have a little bit of fun with it, but it doesn't really hold my attention. I'm more for the story modes, predominantly. But yeah, guys, those are my 3 handheld gaming systems that I've played over the years, and as you can see, it's not very formidable. I have 3 handheld consoles, with what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like certainly 7, 8 games between all of them. So I really was predominantly a home console gamer. But nonetheless, that will suffice for this video, and it'll do the trick for this really swift gaming history video. Let me know if you have any preferred handheld consoles and any memories really jump out and spark for you guys, you know. I suppose it's worth mentioning mobile gaming while we're at it, which I really didn't get into, but I did play Clash of Clans and Clash Royale on the mobile phone touchscreen, probably about 5 or 6 years ago with friends and family. We had a clan called Foxhound, a Metal Gear Solid reference obviously, and that was quite fun, doing those guild battles and clan battles for about a year or two. The nephew Thomas, the nephew Patrick, my older brother Shay was actually playing that for a while, which is incredibly rare because he was never really interested in video games, historically speaking. But that's it, guys. I love yous and leave yous. Stay safe, look after yourselves and each other. Thanks very much for tuning in and listening to me waffle away. Slán a bhaile. Be good.